Thanks for joining us this morning, man. Good
Yes,
morning. How
sir.
are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good. Thank you.
So you have a really interesting story. Obviously, I think people are very familiar with who you are here locally because you are a standout football player and a standout athlete and have been. You got an older brother, Austin, who just signed with Auburn,
Right.
who was a really good defensive back with University High as well on your state championship run. But you also grew up on LSU's campus. And I'm sure you've been asked this question before, but for our listeners, just kind of take us into this. Your dad is Jaiden Ausberry, who's in the athletic administration of LSU. He also played football in the program at LSU. And you've kind of had open access to not only LSU's football facility, but kind of the campus your entire life. How does that viewpoint change where you are in your life right now looking at LSU?
Right. So, growing up on the campus my whole life, my dad works there. I live like 5 minutes away. It was cool really being around the players, the facilities all the time, and I go to school on the campus too. But, it really feels like, you get a home feeling sometimes because I'm right there like all the time. So, it was really cool growing up on the campus pretty much.
Who is the legend that you were closest to growing up?
I was really close to Tyron. I was close to pretty much all of them when I was younger, but as I got older, I didn't have that much time to, be around the facility. But when I was like elementary school, I was talking to all the players all the time, always at practice. So, it was really fun and cool.
You were definitely one of the swaggiest when you go out and watch you play on Friday night. Who do you take some of the looks from? Because it looks like you have seen DBU coming up. You can tell that you have been influenced by some of the greats that have come through Baton Rouge.
Devin White, Deion Jones, Jamal Adams, I love watching their game, their swagger. So, I really try to model my game after them.
So what has your high school experience been like? I know you guys reached the mountaintop last year and won the state title. And I think that surprised a lot of football watchers around Baton Rouge. There was almost a narrative around U High, like it was kind of changing a little bit, but you guys brought the ring back to the U. What has your high school experience been like up to this point?
It's been really well. Last year, a lot of people around the state didn't expect us to go to state because, we lost a real good senior class. But at U High, we reload. Thanks to my coaches and my teammates, we got there and we won. We started all kind of slow. We lost our scrimmage to St. Charles Catholic. Then we lost our jamboree to Catholic.
Oh, wow.
And then we came in, played 2 5A teams with Atlanta Central, blew them out. Then we were just on a run and nobody could stop us. So
Pressure this year? Because I know you lost a lot, right?
right, we lost 20 seniors, but we have about 25 freshmen coming in, some really good underclassmen who have experience. So I really think we can make it back to state and win again.
In talking to your dad, he has given me some really cool parental advice. He said, Jordy, rather than taking vacations, rather than taking some wasted trips to vacations that may not mean anything, take your kids to college campuses. He said that's what he would do growing up with you guys. You would take you and your older brother Austin to Ivy League campuses, to SEC campuses, to campuses all over the country and let you kind of really see college life for yourself. What has that done for you to prepare you for the decision you're about to make?
It's really prepared me. When I was younger, I would always go to campuses during the summer. So now in the recruiting process, it's not anything like new to me and nothing really unexpected. I kind of know it's coming, but it's different because I'm also getting recruited as a football player. But, going on the campuses, it's familiar. So that was always good getting to experience that early.
What are you looking for in recruiting? Like what is something that you must have in recruiting?
Just a really good, connection with the coaches and make sure you got to know what the players say because they know it best because they live it every day. So really just a good connection with the coaches, a good connection with the players, making sure I'm going to a place where there's a good culture, and everybody just keeps it real all the time because that's really important to me.
Who has made the biggest impact? Maybe not one school, but who are some of the schools that are standing out to you?
Notre Dame, LSU, Oregon, Michigan, Florida, Miami, A&M. I'm trying to narrow it down right now because, the recruiting process goes by really fast, but those are the schools that are really sticking out the most.
What did you learn in watching your brother, Jaiden Ausberry, who ended up committing and signing to go to Auburn last year in his process? What did you learn by watching him and kind of going along that ride with him?
Yeah, I learned that, you really have to take your time with it. Don't rush it because, you don't want to commit and decommit because that just puts a lot of pressure on you. He told me that he prayed on it and God's going to tell you a time when it's right to make the choice. So I'm going to just let it play out, and when I feel like I'm ready, that's when I'm going to make my commitment.
He obviously broke a lot of LSU fans' hearts by putting on that Auburn hat that day. And I think that kind of broke the mold of maybe the pressure that may come with having the last name that you have being on LSU's campus. Do you feel a sense of pressure to follow your dad and to go to LSU growing up where you are and knowing the amount of people that you know in this town?
No, I don't, I actually don't feel any pressure at all because, at the end of the day, it's my decision. I'm doing it for my family, myself in the long run. So, but a lot of people here want me to go there, think I'm going there, but just I'm going to have to find out. So,
did the love with Notre Dame start while Brian Kelly was the coach, or did it really ramp up when Marcus Freeman became the coach?
It was there when Coach Kelly was there, but, when Coach Freeman got there, it really ramped up a lot. I think Coach Freeman's doing a real good job, but it was there when Coach Kelly was there too. So,
what is Coach Kelly like as a recruiter?
He keeps things real personal, and he's actually really well because he really knows how to analyze a player on and off the field, and that's what I think attracts a lot of people to like him and come visit LSU and go there ultimately.
Who is your primary recruiter at LSU?
Coach Matt House.
Okay, I was going to ask you what are your thoughts on House, because Tyrann Mathieu was here a couple of weeks ago and he was talking about playing for him, and he mentioned his expertise at linebacker. And Ty said that out of, I think he had like 10 picks over the last 2 years. He said out of the 10, like 7 of them were because of House's, kind of tipping him off to some of the things to look for. What have the conversations been like with him, and how you're a versatile guy? You can play a couple of positions. I mean, are you tabbed to be an outside linebacker in college?
I'm probably going to be outside, kind of like a rover,
right?
Something like that.
Kind of like a strong safety,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Have they mentioned how they would like to use you?
He said he would really like to use me, all over, because when I get to college, I'm really like not the big linebacker, but when I get to college, I'm gonna get some weight put on me, so hopefully I could play outside, inside, all that type of stuff. But Coach House, he's a real good guy. We talk about a lot of things, and I think he's a real good coach too. So we have a good connection.
LSU rolled out the red carpet for the recruits that were in town last weekend. I mean, it was a who's who of the legends, especially over the past couple of years, of guys that have come through the program. What was that weekend like for you? And does that move you in recruiting at this point? I mean, when you see that stuff, I'd imagine that every school you go to now is probably going to bring their strongest alumni to try and impress you and the guys that are there that weekend. How much does that stand out to a recruit of your stature?
It stands out a lot because, when I see Tyrann Mathieu come back, Joe Burrow and all of them, you think about the good LSU teams and, what they did back then. So, really just think about that. And me being around it when I was younger, I really saw like the inside works and stuff like that. So it was really cool seeing them come back this weekend.
Jaiden Ausberry is a name that we've heard a lot in recruiting around here, whether it was from guys like transferring in, like Kyron Lacey from UL, or even like some of the incoming guys like Will Campbell. What is your relationship with that part of the recruiting, kind of that part of the recruiting arm of a college football program?
Yeah, me and Jordan are really close because I knew him before he came to LSU, because when he was at Virginia, he was talking to me there. So, me and him have a real good connection, and he really knows how to, connect with the players nowadays, and that's a real good thing because he could attract recruits and players to, come to LSU. So,
what's your dad's role in recruiting in this? How do you resource your dad on this? I mean, I'd imagine he's a great representative to talk to just because he's played it, he's seen it, and I mean he's so close with the LSU football program and has seen so much go on that can probably give you some really cool insight. How do you kind of use him during this process?
Yeah, he tells me a lot of stuff that I really never thought I would figure out, but he's a real good tool. But he kind of stands back and just lets me do what I want to do. He's not going to get involved, not going to pressure me to go anywhere. He says it's my choice, but he tells me all the stuff that really goes on, and that's really helpful.
Do you have a target date in mind? Do you want to have this announced by a certain point?
I would like to do it either before the season or after. You know, I don't want to do it in between because it's too much. You know, I still want to focus on my team, try to win a state championship. But I would say it's either going to be probably July, but I'm thinking more December, like, because, you know, I'm just trying to really, like, take my time with it and make the right choice and not have to think twice about it. So
yeah. I don't know if people, but your mother's side is probably the most powerful political family in the city of New Orleans for
Right.
sure, maybe in the state of Louisiana,
Right.
in the Montreals. How has that influenced you up to this point? I know your mother puts a lot of emphasis on your academics
Right.
and knowing kind of life after football, thinking about that. Where are you in that process?
Right, you know, she could care less about football. You know, she really cares about academics because, you know, football, NFL, not for long. You know, you can only play for so long. So you got to think about the next 40 years, what you're going to do after that, get a job. So, you know, they're really big on the emphasis of that. But, you know, at the end of the day, she believes in my dreams. And if I want to play football, she's going to, you know, support me in that. But, you know, she's really big on academics. So,
Any pull to politics?
yeah, you know, my grandfather, he was the first black mayor in New Orleans, so, you know, he's really big in New Orleans. And, you know, my uncle, Mark Morial, he's president of the National Urban League. So, you know, I have I'm really familiar with politics, too, on that side. So,
But for you, is there any interest in that?
nah. Not really.
Smart man.
Yeah,
Smart man, Jaiden. Best of luck with this process, man.
Yes, sir.
It's been
Thank
fun to
you.
watch you kind of grow up and watch you play over the past couple of years. There's no doubt about it, bro. You are a big-time football player, and I'd imagine that the next couple months of your life are going to be pretty cool from getting out and just kind of experiencing this. But good luck with your choice, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely. Jaiden Ausberry stopping by here on the Jordy Collada Show.